All right, well, I want to start by first telling you a story. Back in the summer of 2012, I created something that really helped me find my true self. It helped others find themselves, helped save the lives of others, and I'm convinced it helped save my own life. And back in the summer of 2012, I created a Tumblr account. It was this blog that I created, and I imagined this fictional character. So I created him. He pretty much lived my daily life. He went to a small private institution in the Midwest. He studied business. He liked photography, enjoyed golfing, had a small little white dog. He was 19 at the time, and he was gay. And every night, I would crawl into my bed with my laptop, and I would blog to the world about what it meant to be gay. And I would talk about the experiences I had that day, something maybe that happened in my fraternity house, something someone said that really stuck with me, that really stung, that really hurt. I would think and write about what I would tell my parents, what that conversation would sound like, how I would tell my grandma, my brother, my sister, how I would tell and come out to my fraternity. I worried that my sexuality would have an impact on if I had to run for a student government position. And I didn't know what exactly would happen. Would people judge me? Would things happen? So I created this blog, created this character, and I blogged about those things to the world. And this blog really picked up a lot of steam. It picked up a lot of followers, and I created it in the summer, and by the fall, by November, by September, November, I had around 20,000 followers that were blogging each day, that would send me messages and talk to me and tell me that they were experiencing the exact same things, that they were thinking about the same things, how that conversation would sound when they talked to their parents, how they would come out to their friends, how all of these things they hear every day and see on the news, how that all impacted them. And these people would write into my blog, and I almost became like a figurehead in the LGBT online community on Tumblr. I would receive probably 20, 30 messages a day of people telling me that they related with what I was saying, that the content I was creating helped them actually come out to people in their family and their lives. And it was interesting because at that time I was still pretty far away from coming out. So I created this blog, and I got a really positive response to it. Well, there hit this point in time where all of a sudden I started receiving messages from followers saying that they were thinking about committing suicide. And that really hit me hard. People who were following me would message in and say that they no longer wanted to live. They no longer wanted to continue this fight. They'd see stories in the news of other young teens taking their lives because they were gay, because they were transgender, because they were lesbian. And that really stung with me. And that's really what and why I wanted to share this presentation with you today. Suicide is the third leading cause of death among LGBT youth. That's a pretty surprising and really saddening statistic. There's a lot of different things out there, statistic-wise, that really tell this story, which I'll share following this. But at the time, kind of the peak of my blog, many of you may recognize this quote: "A world so hateful, some would rather die than be who they are." Macklemore song, Same Love lyric, the song Same Love, one of the lyrics in the song. That's really what I wanted to focus this presentation on today, is kind of this topic. In a world so hateful, what does that mean? How can we make it less hateful? That's what I really wanted to focus on. This is Ash Hafner. Back actually this past Thursday, Ash Hafner, an 18-year-old from North Carolina, committed suicide after being bullied in school. Ash identified as a transgender man, and he stepped out in front of a moving vehicle. Ronan Shimizu was a 12-year-old boy who was on his middle school's cheerleading squad and committed suicide after what his parents described as relentless anti-gay bullying. Again, he was only 12 years old. And then Blake Brockington, actually on Monday, committed suicide. Blake was the homecoming king at his school, was 18 years old. Pretty tragic story there. And he actually was a pretty big online activist, a pretty big transgender activist in the United States. This is a headline from one of the local newspapers that you would find here in Iowa actually about a year ago. It says, bullied gay teen is fifth suicide at high school in past 5 years. That really hits home, especially realizing that that's happening right here. That's happening in our community right now. LGBT youth are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than their straight peers. 1 out of 6 students nationwide seriously considered suicide last year, and this is for the LGBT community. 3 in 10 reported not going to school for at least a day because of feeling unsafe. 4 in 10 said they felt unsafe because of their gender identification. 6 in 10 because of their sexual orientation. 8 in 10 reported having problems last year with bullying in regards to their orientation. And the last 2 are from the Human Rights Campaign, a report done last year. 4 in 10 LGBT youth say they live in an environment where they don't feel accepted. The last one here, 9 out of 10 say they hear negative things about themselves at school, on the internet, and from their peers. Many of you probably have seen in the news lately what's happening in Indiana. I just wanted to pull some statistical reports about what that consequence actually has. We hear a lot that the opponents of the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which just came out, has been in the news a lot recently, that it's discriminatory, that it will harm the LGBT community. Well, the American Journal of Public Health in 2009 actually did a report, and they found that after states pass anti-gay or discriminatory laws, that drug use, depression, and suicide increase dramatically. So I just wanted to bring that out there. Obviously, we don't know what will happen in Indiana. Obviously, a lot of conversation has happened nationally with what's happening with that. But what all this leads to is really an epidemic. We are seeing increasing rates of transgender violence in the news recently, and that just shouldn't be the case. And again, this is what I want to focus on today is you and how you all can help. So what I want to do right now is break you into 2 groups and really share with you a message directly to you so you can hear it, so it means something to you. So this first message is for group number 1. And group number 1 is for people who identify as gay or who are still in the closet. I have 3 messages for you, 3 things I want you to take away from what I'm saying right now. Number 1, if you haven't heard this yet, it gets better. If you haven't heard this yet, it gets better. There's actually a campaign online called the It Gets Better campaign. It's itgetsbetter.org. Take a look at it. But from the thousands of people I talk to online and from my own personal experience, it gets better. The ability to actually talk about your sexuality, the ability to actually potentially date someone, the ability to talk with your friends, your family, be open with people in your life, it really actually means something. Number 2, for people who are still in the closet or are gay, find someone who is supportive. For me, I found that online a blog was kind of my support system. I unintentionally created this support system of people who would tell me that they were feeling the same things, and all these thoughts that I had locked in my head for 19 years, buried deep inside of me, actually other people were experiencing the same things and came out and were happy and successful afterwards. So find somebody who can support you, whether it's a peer, a mentor, a professor, a teacher, somebody in the community, a family member, somebody who you can really trust. And number 3 is I want you to make a promise to me that I will never see your name in the slides I had before. I will never see your name in a headline in a newspaper that you took your own life. There are resources, so many resources available, so many people out there who want to help. Just because there is this negativity in the news, just because there are these laws that are being passed, doesn't mean that there isn't progress being made right now. There's been so much progress made in the last 5 years, in the last year, in the last month. Things are getting better, so please, if you need help, please reach out for it. Group number 2, I'm identifying as people who care about people. So I anticipate and hope that it is everyone in this room and everyone watching, that people who care about people is a blanket for pretty much everyone else. People who care about people, I have 3 messages for you as well. Message number 1 is that group number 1 is listening to every single thing you say regarding the LGBT community. So how you talk about Indiana right now, what you say online, the language you use, potentially the little things that you say on a daily basis that may sting a little, that may be actually offensive. Realize that we and those individuals still in the closet, they're listening every single word, every sentence, to see if you're an accepting person, if there's somebody you could come out to, if you would accept them and still be their friend afterwards. So pay attention to what you're saying, number 1. Number 2 is that we don't expect you to run around with a rainbow flag everywhere. We don't expect you to be going to drag shows or pride parades. We don't expect you to understand what the acronym LGBTQ, QIAAP, and there's like 100 more you could throw onto that. We don't expect you to know what all of those are or what exactly they mean, but do understand that when you do those things, when you do understand what it means to be involved, to go to a safe space training, that means the world to us. We look for those things. Before I came out at Drake, I would actively look around campus. Who had those safe space signs on their doors? Who had actually been through those trainings? Who was a safe person to talk to? Who would be accepting? And that was wonderful to see, because the doors you didn't see it on, you'd question, you'd look, you'd listen a little harder. You may distance yourself from them. So recognize that if you want to be an accepting person, to take active steps towards actually doing those things. And then number 3, know some of the things that you can do to help, and know some of the things that you actually have right now. So some of the things you can do to help. If you see on Facebook, somebody makes a derogatory comment, says something that isn't really in support of your beliefs, what you're hearing right now, say something. That's the easiest way to really dismantle this hate, is to say something. If you hear something and you're in a public forum, you're with friends, and they say something, let them know. Say, hey, that actually offended me. I don't appreciate you saying those things. That's a really simple thing to do. The second is I want you to recognize that for many of you, you have what is called straight privilege, and you may not even know this. It's as easy as turning on the radio and hearing a song, a love song between a man and a woman. For me, that song doesn't make sense. I'm like, why are they singing to a girl? Like, I don't get that. I secretly whisper like a he or a him, like an Ed Sheeran song when he sings about her. I like whisper to myself like he or him. So recognize that that is a privilege. You get to listen to music. There's things in culture that you connect with. There aren't that for me. A bathroom. For those of you who would identify as a male or a female, you can use a bathroom and not worry about being scared of people judging you actually in the bathroom. If you were a transgender person, you would constantly worry about entering that restroom, about going to that space. You'd constantly worry if somebody was going to judge you for using that space. So recognize those things. In 29 states in the United States right now, I could get fired. I could be fired for being gay without any reason, because I'm gay. That's a straight privilege that you have. You can't be fired for being straight. I can be fired for being gay. I want to thank you for your time this afternoon, and I want you to recognize that this isn't a fight, it's a movement towards equality, it's a civil rights movement. It's about dismantling hate, raising awareness, raising understanding, raising acceptance, and loving one another. Thank you.